All right. Yep, this is going to be an episode. I can assure you right now, every Steelers fan will probably not agree with me. You guys will probably think I am delusional. You'll probably think that I am insane, but it's okay. It's okay. Just know this. I love you too, my fellow junkie, because yeah, this is gonna be episode where some fan bases are gonna be a little bit upset or still a little bit emotional about certain things that happen on the weekend, and there's gonna be others gonna be super excited. So for the people that are super excited, hey, congratulations to you. But yeah, let's just get into this thing. So Mike McCarthy is looking for a new home. Mike Vrabel is now the head coach for the New England Patriots. Steelers and Ravens recap. Commanders and Bucks recap, which was actually a really good game. Rams and Vikings recap. And Packers and Eagles. Yes, we have to talk about the Eagles, unfortunately. So you already know the spill. You already know what I'm getting ready to say. Okay, this is the 59th episode of the Football Junkies podcast. Okay, I am your host with the most, Kale. I am all of these various titles that I've already told you 50 other episodes, okay? Your GM, who currently is not on the team right now, but don't you worry about it. Your chief, Bagro Damas, when it comes to anything and everything related to bag alerts and more, as well as the man who has very hot takes and very interesting predictions that I'm going to save until the entire season is over with, okay? But most importantly, I am your host, as I just said before, Kale. You already know what I'm getting ready to say. Yes, I switched things up because guess what? The next episode, we will hit 60 episodes, which means we are halfway from hitting 100 episodes. So you already know this is about to be a special week for episodes, okay? But you already know what I'm getting ready to say next. So guess what? You already prepared. I'm already prepared. Let's get this thing going. All right. So let's do it on three. 1, 2, 3. Let's lock in. All right, folks. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of everything that is going on in the league right now. Yes, this is a very somber episode for some people. Yes, I have been very upset this past weekend, but it's okay because why? My eyes have been open and we are going to be a-okay. So, before we get into the game that everybody is talking about, that everyone is upset about, that everybody is just rah rah about. Let's just get into the other things first, okay? Let's just do that first. So, Mike McCarthy, now former Dallas Cowboys head coach, is about to be a free agent. Yeah, he's looking for a new home, folks. That's right. The Cowboys decided that they are not going to give him an extension. Instead, they're going to just let him walk. So, let's just get into the statement that was put out by the man with the plan, Mr. Jerry Jones. Okay, so this is what he says, and I quote: "Throughout Mike McCarthy's tenure here, including the last several weeks, I have been very complimentary of the job he has done. That has applied to our record over that time period, our team unity and culture, Mike's qualifications and track record of success, and on a personal level, as a tremendous human being. I have great respect for Mike, and he has led the team through some very unique and challenging times during his tenure. Over the past week, Mike and I had the opportunity to conduct a joint all aspects of the past season, our players and staff, and also spent considerable time discussing the road forward for the team. These discussions were thorough and received an appropriate amount of time and depth to cover. Prior to reaching the point of contract negotiations, though it became mutually clear that it would be better for each of us to head in a different direction. I thank Mike and wish him, his wife Jessica, and their family the best. They have been a wonderful part of our community here. We will commence a search process immediately to hire the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys," end quote. Now, this is what I will say about this, because it is a very unique and very odd situation. Because on one hand, yes, you would think that the Cowboys would still keep Mike McCarthy because of the recent success that they've had within the last few years, not counting this year. But at the same time, one could make an argument and say that the team really has been stagnant and they are looking for a refresher. Put it like that. I think that's the best way to put it. A refresher, right? Because the team is about to go through a lot of change. Yes, you done gave, $100+ million to your quarterback, even though really doesn't deserve it, but that's another story for another day. Yes, you paid CD Lamb. Yes, potentially you're going to have to pay, top dollar for Michael Parsons. The team is about to go through a lot of change. And you would have thought that the team would have, decided just to keep somebody stable. But clearly that is not the case. Now the question is, who would be the Cowboys' next head coach? Now, there were some rumblings last night that both Dion and Jerry Jones have had some discussions. They've been talking. This is what I will say about it. Me personally, I don't think Dion should go to Dallas because he's not going to have no control. Everything is going to be dictated by the way that Jerry Jones wants it to be. And for someone like a Dion, that's just not his style. Stay with Colorado, continue to build this program into being a powerhouse because they were close to, making it to the college playoffs this year. Why leave that? Not to mention, you convinced a was he a 5-star? Yeah, a 5-star, prospect of a quarterback to go and commit to you guys. Just stay there. Just stay there. Continue to recruit some of the best players to Colorado and continue to be bigger and better each and every year instead of being under the control of a Jerry Jones. Now on to another head coach that we need to talk about, and that is former Titans head coach Mike Vrabel is now officially the New England Patriots head coach. I don't want to be the person to say I told you so, but this was sort of expected. There was nobody else that they were going to try to get. Let's just be real here. Yes, they had that, the double image of Byron Leftwich and Pep Hamilton, and everyone was like, oh, there's a chance they might go for there. It was not going to happen. Mike Vrabel was the number one person that they were interested in. From start to finish, they wanted Vrabel, and they got Vrabel, so here we are. But there is an interesting statement that he did put out that I think we do have to talk about here, folks. And this is what he says, and I quote, I want to galvanize our football team. I want to galvanize the building. I want to galvanize our fans. The most important thing are the players. There are some of them right here. I want to provide a program that provides their ownership, but also their accountability of each other and one they'll be proud to be a part of and that they're going to fight for. We're going to earn the right to be here every day. We're going to remove entitlement from our football team. We're going to get everything that we've earned from the head coach to the position coaches, all the way down to the players. We're going to earn the right to be here every single day, end quote. Now, this is pretty interesting, but we all know that Mike Vrabel is this hard, stern type of, personality that he is. And, he did have some success with it with Tennessee. I mean, they were the number one seed, made multiple playoff appearances, definitely had one of the best defenses in the league, and definitely had one of the best rushing games in the league. So Mike Vrabel has had success. I think the only problem that I had with this entire process was y'all should have just did this last year instead of doing it now and just basically getting rid of Gerard Mayo the way that they got rid of him. So I'm not going to really say, anything else about this particular situation. I'm just going to have to wait and see like everybody else will and just see how he addressed things. Now, I will say this. With him putting out a statement like this lets me know the set of tone that is about to be set in the Patriots locker room. Well, not even in the locker room, but in the organization as a whole. He is definitely going to have his hand in just about every single aspect of this team. Now, will it be received in a positive way? I don't know. Only time will tell. Some people will like it. Some people will not like it. But again, only time will tell. Now, let's get into the game that everybody is talking about. Everybody is fighting about. Everybody is emotional about. Everybody that is, Steelers fans. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off here, folks. So, let's just do this. So, Russell Wilson, 20 for 29, 270 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 9.3 yards per attempt, and a 69% completion percentage. Najee Harris, 6 attempts for 17 rushing yards, 2.8 rushing yards per carry. George Pickens, 5 targets for 5 receptions, 87 receiving yards, 1 touchdown, and 17.4 receiving yards per reception. Lamar Jackson, 16 for 21, 175 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 8.3 yards per attempt, and a 76.2 completion percentage. Derrick Henry, 26 attempts for 186 rushing yards, folks. 7.2 rushing yards per carry, 2 touchdowns, and 4 rushes of 10-plus yards or more. Isaiah Likely, 4 targets for 3 receptions, 53 receiving yards, 17.7 receiving yards per reception. Man, oh man, was this a beatdown? Okay, I'm not talking about just, the old school classic, back and forth type of game that most Steelers and Ravens games are. No, this was a flat out, I'm going to put on my dirty boots and I'm going to stomp you out for 4 quarters. And there's nothing that you can do about it. Oh, you think this was over? No, guess what? I got another person over here with dirtier boots that's really going to stomp you out even more because they had a bad day. That's exactly what happened on Saturday, okay? The Steelers got crushed from start to finish. There was no answer to stopping the run. There was no answer to stopping the two-headed monster that is Lamar and Derrick Henry. There was no stopping them at all. This is a very alarming trend that is continuing to happen with the Steelers, and that is they are continuing bruised and battered by the run game of the Ravens. At this point, folks, the Ravens have the Steelers' number in the division. I don't care what anyone says. I understand people say, well, we beat them the last 8 times, and, we can still beat them, They just had our number that day. Listen, I don't care if they had our number, our social security number, our credit card number. The fact of the matter is they cashed it. They robbed us. They said, hey, nice watch. Run it. Oh, man, I'm only laughing at this because I've been arguing with Steelers fans for basically the entire weekend and even now on Twitter at GM _Kale. I've been arguing with them because everyone is saying, oh, we got to get rid of Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin got to go. Mike Tomlin got to go. Mike Tomlin, da 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 da. I'm just like, bro, y'all got to relax, okay? Now, granted, when the game ended, I definitely was on that train. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be very transparent here. I was definitely on that train. But as time progressed, and as you finally just look things from a different lens and a different perspective, I mean, this was bound to happen. This was bound to happen, folks. We were in one of the best situations a team could possibly think of. I really want to paint this picture with you guys. So I got my paintbrush right here. I got my assorted colors. I got me a nice cup of water to, mix things up if I want to do something a little bit exotic, right? So here we are, 10-3. Have the number 3 seed. Potentially will have a home field playoff game. And here we have the Ravens, who are limping into their bye week. And the first game that they have to go after their bye week is the Giants. And then it's us. And we are continuing to go down this hill, as I would say, this very slippery hill of just continuing to lose and get crushed. Okay? And so when we finally go against the Ravens in the regular season, the second matchup, we were missing a few people, yes, but the Ravens just ran the ball. And they continued to ran the ball. And guess what? The Steelers couldn't do anything about it. I don't care who it was. I don't care where they was lined up at. Guess what? Derrick Henry, choo-choo, every single time. Every single time. There is nothing that you can do to stop Derrick Henry. Especially at this time of the year. This is home for him. This is when he's the most dangerous. Because why? Don't nobody want to tackle a 6'4", almost 260-pound tank and try to do that for 4 quarters? Don't nobody want that action. Some people are going to get hurt. And that's exactly what happened on Saturday. We got hurt. Our feelings got hurt. They robbed us of our lunch money. Okay? And I understand. Listen. This has been a trend for the Steelers for the past few years, and it's not felt good. I get that. I understand that. But we have to be honest with ourselves here, fellow Steelers fans, fellow football junkies. And that is, our past mistakes are now showing its ugly head at the wrong time. Those last 3 draft classes of Kevin Colbert definitely pushed this team back a few years. On top of that, the mishandling of the Kenny Pickett situation, on top of the mishandling of the offensive coordinator situation, has pushed this team back substantially. And on top of that, not properly investing into the offense has also shown its ugly head as well. So you have these different types of, mistakes that have happened that we thought, okay, we're just going to feel it at that moment and then everything's going to be fine. No, that second wave came back. And now you're really seeing how bad we needed those draft picks to hit. So all in all, this is a very bad situation for the Steelers. And I understand that a lot of people are very emotional right now. I understand that it's frustrating because you will want the team to continue to be playing. You want the team to be, preparing for their next game. But the fact of the matter is, it's time for the Steelers to, quote unquote, not live in their fears and adapt to the changing times in the NFL. Okay? Trying to do this old school run ball play physical defense, yes, it can work, but you're going to have to put it up in the air. You're going to have to attack the air. That is the only way that you can win games. You're going to have to put points on the board. Investing almost 50 to 60+% of your cap space to one side of the ball does not do anything. Nothing. We literally saw what happened with the Killer Bees. We have this crazy offense, super elite offense, but when it came to the defense was atrocious. And a lot of times, guess what? We were getting cooked. When we needed the defense to make a play, guess what? The defense couldn't do it because why? They didn't have the personnel in certain positions. Now, granted, sure, you had Cam Hayward, you had Bud Dupree, you had Ryan Shazier for a moment, you had various different pieces. But the fact of the matter is, all the money was allocated to the offense. Because why? You had Le'Veon, you had AB, you had Big Ben, you had the offensive line, you had the other receivers and whatnot, you had the tight ends. That's just what it is. And so now what you're seeing is the opposite of that. We went through the phase of investing into the offense. Now we're doing it for the defense. And now you're seeing that it's not working. And so now you have to fix what's going on, because at this point, this has become more than a trend. Okay? At some point, you're going to have to adapt to the changing times and invest more money into the offense. Now, I'm not saying that you have to basically deplete the defense again. No, you can still have a really good defense, but you're going to have to put in a lot for the offense. If you're going to be able to go toe-to-toe with the Eagles, with the Bills, with the Ravens, with the Chiefs, you're going to have to do that. All of those teams have made drastic decisions when it comes to assembling their rosters, okay? Case in point, the Chiefs. The Chiefs realize that in order for us to stay competitive, we are going to have to keep a core. What is that core? Mahomes, Kelsey, Chris Jones. Everybody else is expendable. Case in point, Tyreek Hill. Moved off of him super quick. The running backs, moved off of them really quick. The receivers, trade for them, keep them, 1-year deal, keep it pushing. That is what it is. Look at the Eagles, right? The Eagles invested a little bit more money into their offense, but the defensive side is still fairly young. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Nolan Smith, all of those young guys is on the defense. And so that tampers things down a little bit when it comes to investing a whole lot of money into the defense. Because why? The money is into the offense. The offensive line, Saquon, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, and company. Those are the type of decisions that you have to make when it comes to assembling the team. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to be in a situation like the Steelers where you invested all this money, but guess what? The defense didn't live up to the expectations of the amount of money that you invested into it. That's what it is. And so until this team realizes, hey, it's time for us to adjust to the times a little bit, do a little bit, different, out of the box type of thinking, we are going to continue to be in this cycle. On top of that, we have to expand the coaching staff. Okay. I've been saying this for almost a month now. Well, maybe almost 2 months, maybe a little bit longer than that. We have to get more people on this coaching staff so they can provide a different perspective for both sides of the ball. We literally saw what happened when we had Brian Flores as an assistant. We literally saw what happened. So we have to continue to follow with that recipe. You can't say that there isn't people out here that can fill in the type of Brian Flores' role. You can't. You got Gerard Mayo, you got Antonio Pierce for the defense, you have Pep Hamilton and Byron Leftwich for the offense. So again, we have to become a little bit more modern when it comes to just the overall aspect of the team. Otherwise, we're going to continue to be these one and done teams, and then everyone's going to be super, upset and emotional, and everyone's going to say fire Tomlin. Tomlin's not going anywhere. I can assure you, Mike Tomlin is not going anywhere. Now, is the seat on fire for him going into, the next season? Oh, for sure, 100%. But at the same time, I don't think it's going to be like, oh, they're going to get rid of him, and I don't believe it. I just don't. This is what I will say, and then we're just going to move forward to everything else that we have to talk about, okay? Because we have a lot to talk about. Think about it like this, Steelers fans. We exceeded expectations. I don't think nobody expected us to be in the position that we were when we signed Russell Wilson and then we traded for Justin Fields. Yes, we did, have a really good season, but at the end of the day, once again, we fell into the same trap with the playoffs. So yes, you can be a little bit emotional right now, but you also have to celebrate that, hey, we got 10 wins with a quarterback that nobody expected to, get us to this point. Just saying. Moving forward, for the Ravens side, the Ravens continue to show why they are one of the best teams in the playoffs right now. And they're showing everyone, listen, even though we don't have Zay Flowers, we can still beat you on the ground. And right now, to me, I feel like they are definitely one of the teams that can go all the way to the Super Bowl. As long as they don't make any self-inflicted wounds, they will go to the Super Bowl this year. I guarantee it, because right now they have a dominant run game. The defense has been playing lights out, and everybody else is doing their part. And you know what? I'm not even going to go any further, because everything else, I'm going to save that for the offseason when the season is completely over with. And then we go through our, team by team analysis of needs and all those different types of things. So, but let's get into another game that we definitely have to talk about, unfortunately, and that is the Commanders and the Bucs. Yes, here I am thinking that the Commanders are going to go to the second round, but unfortunately they did. So I have to hear that from, everybody that I know that is Commanders fans. So you think that's fun? No, it is not. But let's just get into these stats, okay? So Jaden Daniels, 24 for 35, 268 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 7.7 yards per attempt, and a 68.6 completion percentage. All right, Jaden Daniels, again, 13 attempts for 36 rushing yards, 2.8 rushing yards per carry. Terry McLaurin, 10 targets for 7 receptions, 89 receiving yards, 1 touchdown, and 12.7 receiving yards per reception. Baker Mayfield, 15 for 18, 185 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 10.3 yards per attempt, and an 83.3 completion percentage. Bucky Irvin, 17 attempts for 77 rushing yards, 4.5 rushing yards per carry, and 2 rushes of 10 plus yards or more. Mike Evans, 7 targets for 7 receptions, 92 receiving yards, 1 touchdown, and 13.1 receiving yards per reception. Now, this was a really good game. This was a sleeper of a game, to be honest with you, because I definitely thought that the Bucs were just going to, be super dominant, but clearly that was not the case. And so, here we go. Jaden Daniels continues to show why he is a magician when it comes to the quarterback position, because wow, oh wow, he continues to make the plays that you need him to make at the times where you need him the most. And guess what happens? The Commanders find another way to win. That is the storyline with this team this year. I don't know what it is, but this team this year is special. Jaden Daniels continues to show why he was one of the best quarterbacks in that draft class. And honestly speaking, could probably make a case why he probably should have been number one. But that's another story for another day. Now for the Buccaneers, though, I will say this. They did put up a good fight. They did. I'm not going to take that away from them. I'm not going to take that away from Baker Mayfield or anybody else. They tried to put up a fight, but ultimately what happened was the Commanders made stops when they needed to make stops, and they made plays when they needed to make plays. That's just what it boils down to. But I will say this, that Buccaneers defense, they was doing their thing against the Commanders' run game. Vita Vea, every single time, getting through, bam, stopping them. Bam, stopping them. Bam, stopping them. Every single time. But when you're dealing with a real magician, that is Jaden Daniels, this is what happens. He has literally done this multiple times in this season. Now, me personally, I still believe he will win Rookie of the Year. Not going to get any further with that. I'll just leave that there. On to another game that we have to talk about that happened last night. The Rams versus the Vikings, okay? Matthew Stafford, 19 for 27, 209 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 7.7 yards per attempt, and a 70.4 completion percentage. Kyron Williams, 16 attempts for 76 rushing yards, 4.8 rushing yards per carry, and 2 rushes of 10-plus yards or more. Tyler Higbee, 5 targets for 5 receptions, 58 receiving yards, and 11.6 receiving yards per reception. This is what I'll say about this game. Man, oh man, Sam Darnold, if I am his agent right now, I am drinking my life away right now. Because you know why? Prior to this point, and even the Lions game, he could have easily demanded 50 plus million a year. But because he lost the way that he lost against the Lions, where they could have had the number 1 seed, and then against the Rams, 45 at best. And that's if a team is super desperate to get someone like a Sam Darnold, okay? But all jokes aside, I can't, there's so many jokes I have to say, but I'm just not. The Rams swarmed Sam Darnold. They swarmed him. Jared Verse was going after him. Brandon Fisk was going after him. Everybody on that defensive line was going after Sam Darnold. It was horrible. Oh, man, if I am a Vikings fan, I am sick right now. Because why? You cannot say, well, if we was on our own home turf, then we could have won the game. Or you can't make no excuses, man. You can't. The Rams had your number. They had your number. That defensive line, hitting. They going after Sam. They trying to take his head off. Literally and figuratively. Man. They was doing their thing, but again, the Rams are one of those teams where in the beginning of the season, they looked real shaky and everyone was thinking, they might just tank. But then they turned things around and then here we are. Right now, the Rams is the team that I think the Eagles nor the Lions really want to face because they're playing with house money. And everybody knows Matthew Stafford, Kyron Williams, Puka, Tyler Higbee and Cooper Kupp, they're going to do their part. But that defense has dogs, and they're going to make plays. Now, when you look on paper, you're probably thinking, well, they don't have a star player at this position and that position and that position. Don't worry about it. They are coached very well. They know exactly, what to attack, and they made plays. Every single time they had a chance, they made a play. They made a significant play. Okay, significant plays every single time. And they basically, in some ways, took Justin Jefferson out of the game completely. That's rare, but they did it last night. But at the same time, this is what I will say about the Vikings. This is a fairly young team. This is what is expected of this team. Because at some point, they were going to hit a wall, okay? Whether it be, towards the NFC Championship, whether it be, in the first round, the second round, wherever. They were going to hit a wall at some point. To me personally, I feel like they have exceeded expectations. I do. Personally, I and 100% behind with what I just said. They exceeded expectations. Because if you would have told me that the Vikings would have made it this far, I would have called you a liar, especially with Sam Darnold. Nobody expected for Sam Darnold to have the season that he had. Nobody did. Nobody expected for the defense to be as dominant as they were. Nobody did. To me, they exceeded expectations. They had a really good season, but hey, that's what happens when you go up against the master. Who was the master? Sean McVay. Who was the student? Kevin O'Connell. But that's another story for another day. Now, on to the final game that we have to talk about, and that is the Packers and the Eagles. Okay, so Jalen Hurts, 13 for 21, 131 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 6.2 yards per attempt, and a 61.9 completion percentage. Saquon the Quad Barkley, 25 attempts for 119 rushing yards, 4.8 rushing yards per carry, and 3 rushes of 10 plus yards or more. Should have been 4. Not going to get into it. Now, Devontae Smith, 4 targets for 4 receptions, 55 receiving yards, 13.8 receiving yards per reception. Jordan Love, 20 for 38, 212 passing yards, 3 picks, 6.4 yards per attempt, and a 60.6 completion percentage. Josh Jacobs, 18 attempts for 81 rushing yards, 4.5 rushing yards per carry, 1 touchdown, and 1 rush of 10 plus yards or more. Jaden Reed, 4 targets for 4 receptions, 46 receiving yards, and 11.5 receiving yards per reception. The Packers were making a lot of self-inflicted wounds, and it essentially costed them the game. Jordan Love looked like a deer in headlights at times during this game, and it was not looking good. On top of that, the team was just starting to get hurt left and right. You know, they lost an offensive lineman, then they lost this person, then they lost that person. It was just bad for the Packers. It really was. And for them to get to where they were this season, you know, it was a lot of highs and lows, but they did it. They persevered and they went through. But Jordan Love, this has got to be one of his worst performances that we have seen so far. The question I have for the Packers, especially for Packers Nation, is what can the Packers do to help Jordan Love up until this point, to get over that hurdle? Because it's not going to get any more easier. It's going to get harder because why? The Lions are still dominant. The Vikings are still dominant. The Bears, depending on who they hire at head coach and the decision that they make, they may even be a problem as well. And that's not even counting all the other NFC teams that you're going to have to go up against. So I don't know exactly what the Packers have to do to really be better than what they were this year, but they got to do it. They got to do it, especially for Jordan Love, because Jordan Love was just making crazy decisions. And granted, I understand he has a little bit of a gunslinger type of vibe with him. I get all that, but it's like, bro, you was making some crazy throws, and then you basically had 3 picks. Like, this was a bad game. The Eagles' defense was imposing their will on the Packers. From start to finish, they were imposing their will, and there was nothing that the Packers could do about it. No matter how many times they ran the ball with Josh Jacobs, it really wasn't going to do anything because why? The Eagles had a plan, and they were going to try to eliminate the run game as best as they can while at the same time creating constant pressure on Jordan Love. But I think the most important thing that we must talk about this game is A.J. Brown was reading a book on the sideline. I've never seen that before. I've never seen anybody to read a book on the sideline. You got to be some type of upset with your quarterback if you decide, you know what? What chapter am I on? Chapter 3. Yes, chapter 3. What paragraph am I on? Paragraph 2. Okay, I knew I put a little bit indent margin on here with my gloves or something. He was reading a book. He was upset because he wasn't getting the ball. Come on, man. You are literally on a potential Super Bowl team and you're on the sideline reading a book. The only book that you should be reading is the tablet. Man. Oh my God. This was hilarious. I'm sorry. You got to laugh at this because this is hilarious. Not to mention, I don't know if people realize this, but apparently with him reading that book or just showing people that he's reading this book, it shot up the sales on Amazon. He low-key pulled a LeBron. Yeah, man, I've been reading this book, man. This book has been really touching for me. It's really changed my life. So what chapter are you on? Oh, I'm just I'm on chapter 2. So what is what chapter 2 is what's it teaching you? Well, I can't really tell you right now because I'm still reading. Like, come on, man. What are we doing? What, AJ? Come on, man. Come on. You can't be that upset because you're not getting the ball. Come on, man. You're going to get the ball at some point. Just relax. But I'm going to end this episode here before I start making any more jokes. If you guys like what you're listening, please like, share, subscribe, turn the notification bell on, leave a comment down below, and listen anywhere that you can listen to podcasts, okay? Because guess what? We are available on Apple Podcasts, RSS feed, Spotify, I think Pandora, and a few other places as well that I'm not thinking of right now, as well as YouTube as well. I forgot to put out YouTube as well. Shout out to my YouTube people. For my Apple Podcast people, Football Junkies Podcast, okay? Football Junkies Podcast. Make sure you guys leave a 5-star review and just let me know your thoughts, okay? Let me know your thoughts about this podcast, this great podcast, this great community that we are building brick by brick, tree limb by tree limb, leaf by leaf, okay? For my YouTube people, all right? Make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn that notification bell on, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts about any or every single game that you feel like you felt some type of way about, all right? Just let me know. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a debate. Because I'm already having a debate right now on Twitter with Steelers fans about why we don't need to get Emeka Egbuka and instead we just need to get Deion Walker or defensive lineman or a corner or somebody else. But yes, it's a whole lot. Don't worry about it. Just follow me on Twitter if you want at GM_Kale. All right? There. For my YouTube people, back to you guys. I love you guys all so much. If you go on our YouTube page, Football Junkies Pod, okay, there is a link. You click on the link, that is the link tree, and it will take you to anywhere and everywhere that we have content for the Football Junkies Podcast. Now, for my Instagram people, Football_Junkies Pod. You already know what I'm going to say. Football_Junkies Pod. Junkies Pod is not what? It is together, not spaced, okay? It is together, not space. For my TikTok people, Football Junkies Pod, okay? Football Junkies Pod. I know, clips, working on it. Give me some time. A lot going on in the backgrounds, but don't you worry about it. Now, have I covered everything I need to cover? Oh, yes. Go Steelers. Forgot I had to mention that as well. It's okay, Steelers fans. We're going to be all right, okay? For all the other fans, I had to coddle the Steelers fans a little bit more because, like, they're really hurt right now. They are just... Whew, I can't tell you how many people I have seen cry and break down in front of their phone because of how bad we lost on Saturday. But it's okay. We're going to make it through it, okay? Now, as always, I hope I gave you guys the fix that you guys need. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. We literally one episode away. The next episode is the 60th episode of the Football Junkies Podcast. I keep telling you guys, this is going to be a great year for the Football Junkies Podcast. You heard it here, folks. Join the Football Junkies Podcast. Come on, man. Join the Football Junkies Podcast. We're going to have some debates. Best believe, TikTok people, don't trust me. We're going to have some serious debates about football, especially this offseason. Just you wait, okay? As always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. This is Kale, your GM. Peace and love. I'm out of here. Later.